So once you have your part made, you can check under Mould Tools whether the part's going to demold or not by clicking on this draft analysis. And then you select the face that you think is going to be the parting face or the parting surface. And you'll see straight away whether there are any yellow. You see here on the left-hand side, positive draft is the green, that's for the core. And negative draft is the red, it's for the cavity, and then the yellow requires draft. So that depends on what kind of draft angle we have here. So let me bump this up to 5 and see what happens. You can see if I do that we'd need a sort of a stronger amount of draft in these areas to get to our desired result. But 3 degrees is fine. I'm going to ignore that for now, and I'm going to go to parting lines. And this should give us, we're going to need to do a draft analysis in any case, but here the direction of pull will be the face that you want to be the parting line, or if you have an unusual parting line, it could be the top plane, because it's just the direction perpendicular to the area that you want to pull. So I'm going to select this face. You'll see you need to do a draft analysis first. I think. And so you get the same result here. So you can actually skip the draft analysis and go straight to this item. And Solidworks now figures out exactly where the split line needs to be, or the parting line. That's this purple line. What I did in class was I selected the wrong face. You have to, obviously, the mold has to come outside. And it'll select the lines for you. And you can say, okay. Right, so from here, so you just follow this sequentially. Shuttle faces, as I've said before, is only if you have to create a hole or a clip with some sort of undercuts. Ignore that for now. And then we're going to go to parting surfaces. And SolidWorks will have detected already that you have a parting line. Right, parting line. So there's the parting line. It's perpendicular to pull, so remember this is a ruled surface. In other words, we can determine which direction it goes. In this case, we want it to be 90 degrees. We won't get into other directions for now. And then what you can do is you need to bump this up because we need to be able to fit the mold within it. So I'm just going to click on here until it gets fairly large. That's okay, and say I want that. Right, so we've got a parting surface. We've got that off of a parting line. So parting line, parting surface. Now we're going to go to tooling split. And then from here, you just select the actual plane that you're going to put your tooling split on. Now, tooling just means the two parts of what we call the mold, the core and the cavity. That's called a tool. Right, so I'm going to create a center rectangle. I'm going to drag it out. I'm not going to put any dimensions in because what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a sort of a minimum distance between the edge of the core and the cavity and the largest part of your mold. So I'm going to put a dimension in from here, and I'm going to hold the shift button down now. And then, okay, when you're dimensioning this, you may experience some odd behavior. Let me see if I can tell you how to solve it. What I want to do is I want to create a dimension from that line to the apex of this curve, so the end of it. And the way to do that is to hold the shift button down, or you can click on the item you want dimensioned first, then hold the shift button down. Then here you have to wait to get the dimension which goes across. And you'll see it'll pop up. You might have to just pop in a bit. There we go. You see it just wanted to pop up there for a sec. So that's one way. There might be an easier way in which you select your edges so that now you can only get the edges. That seems to be a surer way. So I'm going to drag this out and I'm going to make it 20 millimeters. And then we'll do the same over here. So from that line, by the way, I've got this command by using my quick commands. So I'm going to have to unselect my edge because this is a sketch entity. And then shift button doesn't want to do it, so I'm going to just put this filter on. And it still doesn't want to do it. So let's just zoom in a bit. There we go. Right, pull that out. Okay, I think there's maybe some confusion for SolidWorks around what it's selecting there, whether it's the sketch or the edge. It doesn't know. Yours may not exhibit that behavior. It might just be my program, which is old. So once you've got that in place, now, just in case any of you should ask, well, how is this fully defined? That's because these lines are located against the origin, and then they are connected to these lines at the midpoint. So these lines, these uprights and these horizontals, are defined via that relation, which in itself is defined via this relation, because that line there will also be centered on that point. Okay, so just in case you had a question. So I'm going to exit the sketch. It seems like my parting tooling split disappeared for a second. I'm going to go back to this sketch. It'll ask you for the sketch, right? Once you've done the sketch and you say, okay, you'll get this thing happening. You might have to swap these around because mine originally did something like this. So let's just make it 60 and 10. I think it borrowed these dimensions from somewhere else. So you can see the outline of the sketch, of the tool is in the wrong proportion. You need the smaller one at the top and the larger one at the bottom in my case. And here I'm estimating, because 85 is 65 plus 20, so that's giving me 20 millimeters above the top. Say okay. So it's got the parting line, the cavity, the core cavity and parting surface filled in already. And you say okay, and there we go. We now have a tool. So let's just hide this surface. And what you can do is go to the top of your design tree, and you'll see under surface bodies you have 3, ignore those, but you'll have solid bodies, 3 different ones. So you can actually view these by hiding the others, like that, right? So I'm just going to make them all visible, and now we're going to create an exploded view by typing in move in the search button at the top, and we want this command, move copy bodies. It'll give you either translate or rotate or constraint. So we're not going to worry about constraints. That's for mating items. In this case, we want to move. So translate equals move. And here you can just drag this up. You don't need to fill in a specific dimension. Although if you want to, you can fill it in the Y direction over here. I happen to have chosen 150. Now, you have to actually accept the command before you can do the next step, which is repeat the move command to go downwards. Right, and I'm going to drag this down. Okay, and you're going to need this exploded view for your engineering drawing, so please, you need to do this. And these little red triangle things, those are created by these surface bodies, which you can just hide the whole lot. There you go. Okay, so just to give you an idea of what you've just done, let's roll this back to this item and take a section through. So that's the section through the one view. You can see here the 3 parts of your mold. That's your cavity, that's the core, and that's the actual plug. Right, so I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.